The word abracadabra often signals that something magical is meant to have happened. A transformation maybe, or at least just a trick. The word itself is peculiar, yet it's now an almost universal sign of the supposedly impossible. While experts debate the exact origins of abracadabra, the word is undeniably ancient. Abracadabra first appears in the writings of Quintus Serenus Simonicus more than 1,800 years ago as a magical remedy for fever, a potentially fatal development in an age before antibiotics and a symptom of malaria. He was a tutor to the children who became the Roman emperors Geta and Caracalla, and his privileged position in a wealthy noble family added importance to his words. Writing in the 2nd century AD in a book called Liber Medicinalis, Book of Medicine, Serenus advised making an amulet containing parchment inscribed with the magical word to be hung around the neck of a sufferer. He prescribed that the word be written on subsequent lines, but in a downwards pointing triangle with one less letter each time, as shown in the image above. The inscription would then consist of 11 lines, written until there were no characters left in the word. In the same way, Serenus said, the fever would also disappear. Abracadabra origins and meanings. According to recent research, versions of abracadabra also appear in an Egyptian papyrus written in Greek from the 3rd century AD, which omits the vowels at the start and end of the word in subsequent lines. It also appears in a Coptic codex from the 6th century, which uses the same method but a different magical word. For followers of Greek magic, writing variations of a word in a downwards pointing triangle formed a grape cluster or heart shape, which was a way of writing down an oral incantation that repeated and diminished the name of an evil spirit in the same way. Such spirits were thought to cause diseases, and both these versions of the abracadabra spell were supposed to cure fevers and other ailments. Abracadabra was an apotropaic, a word that could avert bad things, explains Elise Graham, a historian of language at Stony Brook University, noting that its origins have been much debated. Some think abracadabra comes from the Hebrew phrase Abracadabri and means, I create as I speak, while others think it comes from Avragavra, an Aramaic phrase meaning, I will create man, the words of God on the 6th day of creation. Still others note its similarity to Avada Kedavra, the killing curse in the Harry Potter books, which author J.K. Rowling has said is Aramaic for, let the thing be destroyed. Medieval historian Don Skemmer, a specialist in magic and former curator of manuscripts at Princeton University, suggests abracadabra could derive from the Hebrew phrase Habracadabra, which means name of the blessed, and was regarded as a magical name. I think this explanation is plausible because divine names are important sources of supernatural power to protect and heal, as we see in ancient, medieval, and modern magic, he says. For early Christians, names derived from Hebrew enjoyed high standing because Hebrew was the language of God and creation, Skimmer adds, a magic word to cure illness. Abracadabra seems to have kept its function as a magical cure against illness for many centuries. A 16th century Jewish manuscript from Italy records a version of the abracadabra spell for an amulet to prevent fever. The English writer Daniel Defoe noted in a journal of the plague year that it was used in 17th century London to prevent the infection. As if the plague was not the hand of God, but a kind of possession of an evil spirit, and that it was to be kept off with crossings, signs of the zodiac, papers tied up with so many knots, and certain words or figures written on them, as particularly the word abracadabra, formed in triangle or pyramid. But the word seems to have lost its usefulness as a remedy. In the early 1800s, it appeared in a stage play written by William Thomas Moncrief as an example of a word magicians would utter. Its only notable reference in the 20th century may be in the Thelema religion founded in the early 1900s by Aleister Crowley. The occultist often used the word abrahadabra in his 1904 Liber Alvel Legis, Book of the Law, saying it was the name of a new age of humanity. He claimed to have derived it from the numerology system known as Hermetic Kabbalah, which induced him to swap out the C of abracadabra for an H, Descent into Conjuring historian Graham notes that magic was thought useful as a remedy only before modern medical developments. We used to need magic to do different things, but we have better medicines now, she says. And that's relegated abracadabra to the realm of stage magic and conjuring tricks. Now magic is more about spectacle and distraction, she says. If abracadabra still retains any power, it may be because no one is sure what it means. A magic word gives power to the magician, while outsiders don't know what it is, Graham says. It endows the magician with power in the eyes of other people. So if abracadabra sounds nonsensical, maybe that's the point, she says. If the word weren't mysterious, then it would be less magical.